Hello and welcome to Promenade Culture Center. This is Culture Corner. We bring you the authentic stories of creative individuals. We have a great pleasure today to host Shayma Bakhesh, the managing partner of Kuwait Sailing School. Shayma, warm welcome to Culture Corner.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy that I realized that you would be an amazing guest in addition to our Culture Corner because of how you touch on those activities we are also conducting. And I believe a lot of people might ask themselves, what is a sailing school to do with our podcast? But it is about work you do with youth. It is about closeness to the sea. It is about environmental protection. So we have a lot of topics
And
to
Kuwait culture.
Yes, of course. We have a lot, and the whole heritage aspect of what you're doing. So we have a lot to talk about. And I wanted to speak a little bit because we've never met someone like you here in this podcast, a uniqueness of your occupation and what led to it. And how did you become a sailor, basically?
It's a long story.
We're ready to hear it.
I wouldn't call it an occupation.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened by chance. And I do believe in luck and chances.
Mm-hmm.
Never planned for it, honestly. So it's just like anyone else who finishes school, go to university, go to a 9 to 5 job as everyone else. And then opportunities comes, you find a hobby that you like. And then the circumstances happened and took me to the path of sailing. Yeah,
It's great to hear that you believe in these chances and
I
circumstances.
do
Yeah.
strongly.
But could you tell us about your first experiences with water and sea, oceans, the bodies of water in general?
I mean, in Kuwait, we live by the
Mm.
sea,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always weekends where the family would go to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I've only learned swimming at a later age when sailing actually attracted me.
Mm-hmm.
I would float, but I wouldn't call myself a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So as a family, we'd go to the sea, but nothing really special. And then you grow up as a teenager, as the sun tanning and sunbathing was like, oh, beautiful.
Mm.
But it was always boring. What do you do there? Read a book and then what? Until this group in Kuwait was doing sailing in Fahahil.
Mm-hmm.
A group of expats had their sailing boats on Facebook. They would announce every weekend, pay 5 Kuwaiti dinars and join us on the boat. So if they have a spot, we'll take you. If not, you've lost it. And it was just jump on the boat and see what they're doing. The first experience was horrible. The sea was so rough, and I was seasick for 3 hours. And I was thinking, this is not for me. I don't like it. Give it another try with seasickness pills. And I was like, it's absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So weather played a role with the first
Mm-hmm.
experience. And then it was going every weekend. I didn't know why. It was just something I liked. What to do on the weekends in Kuwait, you're by the sea. And the beauty about it was more winter than summer.
Mm-hmm.
So in winter, people tend to go indoors, cold, or even I hate running, so all the activities happen. It's like marathons, and that was not for me. So the sea was beautiful to be there in winter. So yeah, I think that's how it started at the beginning. Then it was just, oh, I like it, let me learn it. Because on the boat, I was not learning, pull this rope, move here, go there, but never understood why I'm doing it. And I know I mentioned there were expats, but some of them were Scottish, and then using sailing terminologies. So to me, it was always, I'm not sure if I don't understand the accent or the sailing terms.
Yeah.
Until I decided, let me take sailing courses and understand what's happening on the boat. Yeah.
Were you able to do that here, the courses?
Luckily, yes. And the one of the exhibitions that happens in the summer for I don't know, diving, fishing, the outdoor. So there was lots of small dinghies and sailboats, and there was a British lady there, and she was offering sailing courses. When I explained my challenges, that I'm on a boat but I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
she said, good sailor starts on dinghies. And then I signed up for her first level. And took the course, was going there after work, and it was really a challenge, leaving the office at 4, running before she closed before sunset. And then to me was more the joy of being in the sea, stressful work in the office, let's go sailing, no wind, you do stand-up paddleboarding. And that's things she introduced to me. A year later, I went to do my second level. Center was closed. So I was like, no more places in Kuwait to do sailing. So then by then I was married, and my husband said, I'll buy you a birthday gift. You go to Bahrain and do your second level. And that's how it progressed. Now it became travel on holidays and do the rest of the sailing.
So lucky we're surrounded by water
I
and
know.
yeah, other places where you could do it. Um, to me, it seems like you need to be a special character to be tied to the sea. It seems difficult. And just prior to taping, I mentioned that my family is actually are people of the sea from
Yeah.
Croatia, and that only my father and I were born outside of it. Maybe we lost the connection, but is it really the strongest characters that survive at sea?
Yes, but you don't need to have a strong character to
Hmm.
start
Yeah.
being in the activities or in the sea.
Hmm.
I think I had a different character before being in contact with the ocean. And I still remember this instructor that I met in Greece
Mm-hmm.
who, when I was doing things, he came, he was like, Shayma, sailing is more about, it's not like that girly.
Yeah.
And then I go like, yeah, I like to have my feminine side outside the sailing, but when I'm there, it's just more how to face those challenges with the strength. So it just shapes your character. So when I see boys and girls coming or men and women coming, you can see the changes in their personality. So I wouldn't say you need to be going into sailing or even diving or any other water sport that you need to have a strong character. It just shapes you into a different character.
I think it's interesting you've mentioned that you were leaving office and running to your classes. It's interesting to mention that shift as well.
Yeah.
This is your life now, but this is not what your life used to look like. So you had a completely different path. Was there anything in this educational and corporate life you led that did give you some, perhaps some skills that you're using today, or did this life show you how that other life is not to be lived anymore? How did that transition look like?
I never, I would say, regret any decision, even the bad ones.
Yeah.
And if I go back to even my degree is not the degree I wanted to do. You make a decision at the age of 17, 18.
So early.
Even that degree at that like earlier age, I didn't want to do. It just the path took me to do it. The jobs I had, not all of them I liked, but I would say everyone, I would say I gave my best. Even before starting the sailing, I went through, like, I invested money in business that went all wrong. I lost all of it and my dad's money because he was like, I want to help you to do something.
Yeah.
But then I lost that money. He lost the money he shared. But I never regret any of those decisions. And we're talking about left the job in 2018 and started the sailing now. And only, I would say 2 weeks ago, I was doing a course as a senior instructor in Dubai. And before I was like being interviewed to be eligible for the course, one of the questions were, you don't work in a center that I do have someone that is more superior than me or more qualified than me to say, oh, she can be a senior instructor. So in that interview was, what was your previous job? What were you doing? And then they went, if you were in a managerial role, that will help you to do that part of the sailing job, because now you know how to manage a club, how to manage a people. So I would say every step in my life led to helping me in the sailing, not as sailing in a skill, but how to manage the school itself, managing people, training people. And I've done a lot of PR and corporate communications. So that helped of managing the social media. Not the best, because I think I'm way backward in managing my social media and advertisements. I do the basic, but it kind of helped me of having an idea of how this is done. So that's how the previous jobs kind of moved to.
They were all pieces of a puzzle.
Yeah.
And probably from this perspective, when you look, it all makes sense in a way.
Now.
Yeah. Now, of course, not along the way. Yes. So I'm wondering, you were talking about the first steps, but how did you come up with an idea? I'll create something where I will teach, where I will engage more people. How did that community come together for your sailing school? And was that an easy path?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I cried a lot. I remember, decided to stop so many times. It wasn't an idea. As I said, it just things happened. So the school started by accident, and then the community was developed just as we go. So when I left the last job I had, I would say, as much as I hated it, it helped me to develop something I really loved. So coming home every day saying, complaining about the work, and my husband said, if you don't like it, just quit. And it's not easy because
Yeah,
you've learned
that's
that
easier said than done. Yeah.
financially you
Mm.
want the salary. And I mean, I must say, as Kuwaitis, we're privileged. So, but I was never taught to depend on parents or a spouse for finance.
Mm.
So leaving, just waiting, and
Yeah.
I was not. But that day, I don't know why, something happened at work. I wrote the resignation, and I thought within 3 months I'll figure it out. The notice period. I received a newsletter because I was already sailing. So I was subscribing to sailing companies. It says, become a sailing instructor. I was like, nice, 6 weeks in Greece, do something you love, and then you refresh, come back. Came back, COVID was there. So
Mm.
no one is recruiting. So the sailing kind of now helped to help people go through these difficult times and also help me go through not having a job. So just I mean, after the country eased out and with the restrictions,
Yeah.
you could use public beaches. We could use friends' chalets and personal boats, people's boats to help them in the chalets. And then it's just the word of mouth spread. And then a resort called and said, do you want to open a water sports center? And I was like, I know how to teach. I don't know how to manage a center. And they were nice enough to say, you try and we try. And it was winter. I was like encouraging people to try water sports in winter in the south of Kuwait. So they need to drive more than an hour to get there. But it worked. COVID helped. People wanted to do something different. Everyone is working from home. Kids are studying online. So everyone will book a few nights in the hotel and then learn sailing. 2 years later, another hotel called, and that was now more center. Although in the south the sea is prettier.
Oh yes, I was so surprised to see the
You see
sea
dolphins, you see,
because I think we're talking about the around seashell resorts. So
that's right.
that
Yeah.
to me was the first real sea I actually saw
Yeah. I
in
mean, the whole
Kuwait.
area there, Jalab, Nader, the sea there
Yeah,
is beautiful. Moving more to
yeah,
Salmiya, it's, you're getting close to the bay and it's more like still water. But moving here, I think where the community started to develop by itself,
hmm
more people are coming after work or before work. School starts to come. You can have activities, I would say, every day
mm,
and throughout the daylight,
yeah,
where there people need to come for the session and leave, and mainly weekends. So the community started to develop, giving the location, and then you learn as you go. We always pictured, I would say, the Mediterranean. People finish sailing, gather for a dinner,
mm,
but that was never happening in Kuwait. You've got cultural barriers, you've got venues that don't help, you've
yeah,
got most of the locals here, they do have family commitments after they finish, especially on weekends. So I would say the expats found the family first, and then I would say now, today, this year, the locals started to
yeah,
join, but that took a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it did happen. I think because I have some small experience with your school. I think it was an odd time, COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
Your activity was at some point the only one allowed,
Yeah. Yeah.
and because we had kids in different sports and nothing was open. I think later some when the weather was still some football sessions opened, but sailing was the only thing. And while you were in Hiran,
Mm-hmm.
there was a road trip for us.
Yeah.
And as Europeans, we travel a lot by car and,
Yeah.
go on long distances. And also, I remember I would make sandwiches and pack fruits. It was completely unnecessary. I mean, for a 1 hour there and back. But we used to do that to have a feel of freedom. And
Yeah.
it was in a very restricted area. We didn't leave for 2 years. We didn't see anyone. My husband continuously worked with COVID patients. It was such a tense time. So we would come for a beautiful activity. We would have the road trip. We would eat sandwiches. It's just something that I think I will never forget. That was part of the package. And if I'm not mistaken, even now with the recent developments and happenings in the Gulf, you were also among the first one to actually
Yeah.
were allowed back, right? For
Yeah.
the. So there's something very special about sailing, obviously, in all circumstances.
Yeah.
I wanted to, well, you did mention now, you gave us a nice, like, chronological development of it and some of the challenges, because I did want to ask how long until you actually felt, okay, this is very productive, not just like financially but just it's really working.
Can I touch on the Khairan part
Yes,
first?
please.
I think talking about luck and chances, the Khairan, it's not even our chalet. I mean, my family don't have a chalet. And I would say the club wouldn't be the club today, the sailing school itself, if it was not for the people that throw up this path. The Khairan was for a family that the father was a sailor. His son, the oldest son that was helping us, he's also a sailor, sails dinghies. So they had boats inside the chalet. So it was not only my boats. The life jackets was from them. A lot of the gears were donated from them. The start of the center, I remember the lady outside, the British lady, they were partnered with her, and then when the business closed, they have all those gears. And when I wanted a location, temporary location, the family proposed to have their chalet, and it was so sweet of them. For the difficult times, I think everyone wanted to get together. And I think without them, I wouldn't have the sailing school today, honestly. And then for the road trip, yeah.
No, I really enjoyed that. Then after that, Seychelles was closer, a little bit closer, maybe 15 minutes
Yes, yeah,
closer.
yeah,
And this is when I realized what the real sea actually looks
yeah,
like. It's like
yeah,
the open sea
yeah.
to me. Finally, it looked like the seas I could understand and percept. Yeah. And also I think it's fun for the whole family, even those who are not sailing.
Yeah. Today, people will not do this trip because they have all the other options.
Yeah.
And yeah. And for the restrictions, I think the sailing school what did not fall under any sport because we're the only club operating. So we
Yeah.
didn't have any restrictions.
Yeah.
And if you follow the Royal Yacht Association, that's who we are. And it said if you've got people from the same household on the same boat, then you're fine. And
Yeah.
people not living on the same household in separate boats probably is the safest during those times because you're outdoor in different boats. You're having a lot of social distance, let's say. So it was probably the safest to do.
I am glad that someone was very sane about it because it was so much needed, definitely. One of the things, obviously you work with both adults and children and youth, but for us, it's important to speak about this part related to children. You probably didn't have any previous teaching experience with children or like pedagogy experience.
No, not at all.
I can tell you as a parent and as someone who works in non-formal education, basically, that I was amazed how easy it was to bring a child to your classes, how supported and felt and comforted it felt, and how great you were with children. I must say this is something that I have a privilege to share on a podcast I run, is that Shayma is one of a kind.
Thank you so much.
Honestly, the energy, the professionalism, the devotion, how great we felt bringing our child to it wasn't only about sailing. That's what I also want to say. So it's a great activity to learn, but also it's about what you created for them. So your your decision to work with children must have been a difficult one, or like at least an unknown one.
It wasn't a decision.
Okay. It happened like other things.
So this is a confession here.
Yeah.
When I did my instructor course, they were doing the assessment. And part of it was teaching adults and being assessed. And one of it was teaching children being assessed. And I looked at the trainers and I said, if you want me to pass, don't put me with children. Oh. I'll deal better with adults. I'm someone I would say I never wanted to be close to children, including families like nephews and any child. Never babysit anyone. Didn't want to be close to them. And then in the assessment, I said, don't put me in the kids club of the sailing school. I'm not going to pass the assessment. So I was put with adults. And I finished and came back to Kuwait. And as I said, never thought of having a school. And then the first student comes to me, was a 9 years old kid. I looked at him and I don't know how to teach you. So I made a phone call to my instructor saying how to teach a child. They said, they gave me all the hints, shorten the sessions, make it more playful. Because honestly, when they test you if you know how to sail or not.
Yeah.
They teach you how to teach anyone, mainly adults, how to sail. But then you go, I don't think the child would absorb this information. And then they said, well, do it this way. And then that kid was crying all the time. And I was like, I don't know if I'm me doing anything wrong or that kid is just crying. And he would leave the boat, go to his mom, and then doesn't want to talk to me. I felt so bad at the beginning, so bad. I was like, I'm not sure. And then the mom would come talk to me about her child personality. That's him. He's angry because he's not doing correct. And I think it was similar to how you were describing your daughter.
Yeah, my
He would
youngest.
bang the extension on the boat. He's angry about himself. And at that point, I had no much experience. I felt the kid is angry because I'm not teaching him properly. And I think he was my guinea pig at the start. Today, this boy is one of my amazing assistant instructors, and he's turning 16.
What a great story.
And I think with time, I even thought like, I don't want to teach younger children. I'm going to have a smaller number of kids to teach at a time. So 1 kid, 2 kids maximum. And I think I learned by experience. I would go home not happy. There are days I feel the session wasn't, I was not satisfied about how the session was run because I think children just behave differently and they do affect you emotionally. Today, we do have so many children, the main source of my revenues. So I love them so much.
Yeah.
And I would say I've learned a lot from them. I learned a lot from them. I learned how to teach. I've learned how to sail differently. And through them, I've learned how to teach adults as well. So I think
this is my next question: the difference between teaching youth and adults.
And watching maybe a lot of videos, talking to so many instructors, joining other clubs to learn how it's done, learning from other instructors. But a lot of the learning came from the children themselves. If they would tell you, the children, they would just say it out loud, no filter. If it's boring or if they're not having a good time, you know how to adapt them immediately. But yeah.
And it's interesting how you've managed to make it also fun and entertaining. Obviously, probably for a lot of kids, it is fun to get on a boat. But you have these additional activities when they would have, I'm going to call them treasure hunts, or, when they're searching for things, some things you can't really imagine. And then suddenly you've done it and the kids are doing it at the sea. I think that was an added value to the classes. They were not typical sailing classes.
I mean, if you look at the RYA themselves, the Royal Yacht Association, because a lot of the learning comes from them, I think they would say number 1 is safety, and then fun, and then learning. If it's not safe, you're not going to run it. If it's not fun, no one wants to come back, and the learning just follows. So they give you so many materials about games, and all the instructors all over the world share those. Like if you have a new game, share it, and everyone now is learning. You just try to be creative. There's so much wind, what we're going to do. If there is no wind, what we're going to do. How can I make it still sailing education, but with the kids, they don't know they're learning. But they're still learning.
And winter time is great for us who don't go into the sun, actually. I mean, for people who can't stand the strong sun, and I know a lot of people are doing activities with you nowadays as well. But it's actually, to me, it was such a lovely idea that there's something happening outside, outdoors in winter. And also, the sun is not too harsh on you. Kids did fall into water, come back on the boats. They would kind of brave the cold as well. But I think that was all very good for them. I mean, at least this is what I felt.
You're lucky you're in Kuwait. You get to sail all year round.
Of course. No, definitely. Even though, I'm sure that a lot of people would not go into Kuwait Sea in winter as well.
You've got 2 different, I would say, groups. The winter group and the summer group. You've got more Western expats throughout the winter. You still have a few of the Kuwaitis would come,
Yeah.
but the majorities are the Western expats. And then this summer is definitely a lot of the locals. I would
Yeah, yeah.
say a few Italians as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Southerners, okay, who can stand better the sun. Um, I know that I just want to give our listeners a little bit more information on how these classes are formed. So people come and have the practical education, but also they have a theoretical education because it's inseparable.
Yeah,
And how was it easy to combine these, and how do people react to that? It's sort of like diving. You do have to
that's
study
right.
before you
Yeah,
actually try it. Yeah.
yeah. Again, as part of how the teaching of sailing is happening, I think everywhere in the world.
Mm.
So first you need to try the practical to have an understanding if that's what you
Yeah.
want to do or not. So there's always a taster session. People, they have the option, do you want to try it before you get committed? Because it's like any other sport, you need to be committed. And then once you try it, you yourself going to have a lot of questions. So now that your brain is just thinking, why we're doing it this way, why, and people ask questions, and then when you explain the theory, it kind of makes sense. Now
Oh,
the
yeah.
theory, you can Google it, you can watch YouTube, but then how to apply it into practice. So people might come and know all the theory before even start the course, but then once they do the practical, they understand the logic of that theory. So you can't separate them.
You've mentioned a few locations and what characteristics they had.
Yeah.
It seems like you were rather satisfied with each of them in a different way.
Yeah.
But the one that you are now in the city basically,
Yeah.
and that's the longest, right? Now it's been running
That's
for
right.
yeah. And it seems that the community best responds to this location. Is it or
Yeah.
do you feel how do you feel about now basically being present right where we are?
I mean, I wish I do have the choice of where I want to be. So that's one of the challenges. You need to be in a resort, or you need to, I don't know how, I don't think it works in Kuwait to have the spot for you.
Yeah.
By the sea. So the resort is the most convenient one. You cannot run it from a private chalet because this is a business.
Yeah.
So it needs to be with your commercial license. It needs to be in a resort. When we've been approached by other hotels, so the first thing we could go and say, I want to do the meeting during daytime in a low tide to see the seabed when there's no water. Can I operate throughout the day, or I can't operate in low tides? Are there any dangers that we can't see? How big or small is the beach and the space you're giving me? Do you have indoor space for classes during the heat or cold conditions? Where can I store my stuff? So that all defines what's the flexibility of those hotel managements. They're not very flexible because also they're limited with space, so they don't have themselves space to store stuff.
Yeah.
So it's always that limitations. And we know the Loba in Kuwait, the sea should be accessible for everyone. So I can't just come and build something on the beach,
Yeah.
even if that beach belongs to the resort. So with the municipality, that's also a restriction. So where do we choose? Mainly, I think this is the longest spot because the owner is a sailor and he understands what we do. And in other resorts, if they have motorized water sports, like you've seen in the other resort, it kind of conflict of what we do when it comes to safety. And I would remember,
Yes.
I would remember your son was one of the first kids when those jet skis started to be rented. I think we had your son at that time.
Yeah.
And we did not, because we came in winter, jet skis were not renting out. And
Yeah, it
on
was a
that
big
day,
surprise when they
on
started.
that day, I think we even were surprised. And myself and my husband looked and we were like, that is absolutely not safe. And I think we escort him, like he's on his sailboat and one next to him on a safety boat just to make sure he gets to the sailing area.
Yeah.
So that is not the case in this resort. They are so, again, it's motorized water sports, which is amazing. It's perfect for us. Management, so understanding of what we do. And I would say it's more a collaboration and partnership than us just being there as a third party.
You have mentioned now a few things, and I just thought of another question I wanted to ask you. What you do entails so much knowledge to me as a person who doesn't know any of this and doesn't understand. It seems so a vast field of unknownness. Um, you went through your sailing classes, you got your certifications, diplomas, but you had to probably learn so much more about the sea, about the conditions,
Yeah.
about the position, about tides, about so many things. Did this go? This went through experience on its own, or how does that look? How do you recognize a danger? Realize, see something that we don't.
It's both, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
As an instructor or a dinghy instructor, a small boat, he gets maybe very small education about
Mm-hmm.
tide or
Yeah.
danger, because in a small boat, that danger is not that big
Yeah.
danger. But we've also, before doing dinghy sailing, we've sailed the bigger yachts, and that was the start of that whole journey. And there you've got to do tidal assessments. You need to do times in the sea, doing a lot of navigation without using let's say digital equipments and instruments, was all manual using charts. So I think that added to the dinghy sailing instructions more. So that it was not there with the dinghy sailing, it was a little bit, but then I think the sailing big boats, doing a day skipper, sailing in difficult conditions, myself and my husband, so many
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
times, so
Yeah.
many summers, putting ourselves in situations where the forecast was not
Mm-hmm.
correct. And then learning the area itself. I mean, being in Jle'a or in Salmiya is how much local knowledge you have on the same area. That comes with time and experience. Yeah.
When I was thinking about what I would like to ask you, one of the things that came to mind is how you're working all year round. I don't think you make a break ever. Very short for
Yeah.
for you to go and continue learning
Very
about the
short.
seas. But then I was reminded of how Kuwait used to live and
Mhm.
how this was what made Kuwait.
Yeah.
People, spending 9 months at least at the
Yeah.
sea, if not more. The pearl divers, the whole nation and identity developed on basically and depended on
Yeah.
these men, and obviously women holding the fort at home. Do you sometimes think of that relation and how this past connects to modernity nowadays?
I mean, I don't think when I started sailing itself, but it came when people said, oh, this is something new or unique. And you go, no, they've
Yeah.
always been doing it. They've always been doing it. My grandfather from my mother's side
Mm.
used to be on boats that they would go to India. So he also spoke the language.
Oh.
But it's our culture. And the beauty about it now, when we approached, I think last year, some sponsors, because we needed more boats and we needed a training space. Part of it, I think, what encouraged those sponsors to help, we would say it's our culture that we needed to keep going. Some nurseries and preschool, they come, and I loved it, part of their education, to connect the past with now. Looking at those 4 or 5 years old, not knowing what's a sailboat, and now you're introducing a sailboat, and then now you're introducing what the dhow looked like. And especially the days where we don't have winds and we put them in a kayak, and then we show them that dhow had no engine. You've got people rowing the boat if the wind stops, and all that connection is beautiful to see now. And our boats today are much, much easier than the boats were in the past, honestly.
I just thought, because I follow football, I'm just thinking of the World Cup and how Norwegians are definitely keeping that,
Yeah, the Vikings.
keeping the Viking tradition, because it's part of how they cheer, but it's a direct connection to the sea. And or any other feature of nature that we've seemed to lost over the time. So even now, living next to the sea, it feels, sometimes I forget there is sea, and okay, that's also about the weather and the fact that I don't really, I don't enjoy the harsh sun and so on. But nobody really does. It's about how you adjust and what you do to the nature. Can we mention, we've mentioned some of the activities you do, but I'd love for those who don't know, if there are people who don't know,
Many people
to
don't know.
realize. I always try to point out how everyone knows about everything we're talking about. But yes, obviously there are people who wouldn't know. And I think it's interesting to say, what are some of the activities or the activities you are offering? What people love most is also interesting to hear.
It's I think the activities, we kept them simple. I know a lot of people came with so many suggestions, and they might think I'm stubborn keeping it as it is for the past few years. Sailing has always been the core of the business because we're sailors.
Yeah.
Windsurfing been introduced with sailing, but I'm not a windsurf instructor. And my husband has his full-time job, so he's not been there always to support that side of the business. But now I think for a year now we have a windsurf instructor. So the two wind sports, let's say, complement each other. And then we thought, like, let's introduce some kayaks and stand-up paddle boards. If there's no wind, people can paddle.
Yeah.
That's if you want to simplify it. That's the four things we have. But then it comes now the creativity. Let's do sunrise or morning paddle. Let's do a sunset paddle. Some people came and said, I don't know how to do stand-up paddle boarding. So let's introduce some sub lessons for those who don't want to just give it a try themselves. They need the support of someone who knows how to do it. And then the sailing courses themselves, you've got the young and the adults. You've got come and try it before you go out and commit. Some people might not call it try, or they will, I just want to have a ride one time lesson, and then that's it. So we do this for both sailing and windsurfing. And you get people coming more than one time to try it, just bringing friends now. It's a birthday gift. So if you want to divide them as what we do, they're just four things, but then you just play around with them and focus on the core.
How about the attendees? Obviously, I'm not asking you who exactly are the people coming, but it's both adults and children. I guess some sea enthusiasts. Do you have more younger or older generation?
A lot of the young.
Yeah.
I love the young because they keep coming. I mean, that's the beauty about the young person. You teach them, it's not about that certificate. I've got a certificate. They keep coming. I think at one point they forget what level they're doing. They're just coming. They do have, they make friends. And then I love it when parents ask for the other parent phone number. So now the kids became friends and they develop this friendship through the sailing. So the young ones are, I would say, the repeat customers. Where the adults, they might do one course, two courses, and then they would decide they buy their own boat or they go into a different hobby or something different.
Of course.
There's a very small community that is attached to sailing. They either sailors even before they come to Kuwait, or they develop this in Kuwait, and then when they travel to their home country, they keep sailing, which I love it. Then they come back here and then they keep practicing. That is very small community of the adults, but the children are
the
they
vast
keep
one.
coming. Yeah.
As your work continues or expands, how do you find time to learn and grow yourself? Is it in these short periods of time when you leave for your vacation?
It's been challenging. So when I used to work in corporates, I used to take so many holidays. Yeah. And now you've got your own business. And I thought, I don't have my own boss. I don't need to take approval for leave. I find myself more stuck in Kuwait.
No, obviously. Yeah. This is what everyone says with their own. Yeah.
Because if you leave, you've got no income. So in the summer, every summer we go and sail. And it's I would say it's beautiful because you're sailing without explaining why you're doing what you're doing, like you're teaching all the time. So it's just like, let's sail and relax. And then you learn, because with sailing, I think, and any outdoor activity, is the environment that teaches you every time. It's a different boat, it's different weather, it's different marina, it's a different country, it's a different way of docking the boat. So you learn as you go. But then last year I decided also, I don't want to sail with my husband. I want to be more independent. I would say he's more a competent sailor than me. So if we get into a challenging situation, it's more like, oh, you take over. And I wanted to get rid of that habit. Then I decided to go for a week and then join him for the holiday later. And I think that 1 week just sharpened some skills. This year, we've been working on this for the past few years. It's only this year, the timing of the course in Dubai matched my free time and managed to do it just before the summer camp starts. I mean, it was just 1 day difference, and managed to do this course to develop. So you sign up and you go, date's not matching, I can't. So
And the other seas or coasts that you have visited and you've mentioned, which ones inspired you, or which ones did you particularly like for different reasons, for whatever reasons? You said you went to Greece, you went to Croatia,
they're all
Turkey.
different. I can say the beautiful things about each one of them. um, I would say Croatia, I love how I think nature, the sea color is different.
Yeah,
Uh,
Adriatic is something
it's
else. Yeah, I'm
different.
biased though.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
it's different. If I say crystal clear water, I would always remember Croatia, even before sailing when I went for a holiday. Also, looking at it from a sailor perspective, all the markers in the sea for the
Mm.
sailors and anyone using the ocean, they're like so like they've been painted yesterday. They're so clear. You can what you see in the book is actually what you see
Yeah.
in the sea. Like perfect. Um, Greece has always have a special place in my heart because I think we've done it so many times. Most of the qualifications came from Greece. Um,
I also think you cannot not like Greek.
there's so many islands, so
Yeah.
um, I don't think I see many Greeks there. I see so
Mm.
many people from different
Yeah, yeah.
countries because of I think it's the least expensive
Mm-hmm.
in the whole Mediterranean.
Yes.
So you see people coming from Italy, Turkey, from everywhere. But I think, yeah, I've done all my learning there, so it has that special place in
Yeah.
my heart. Turkey, the greenery, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
And the Turkish people, I know a lot of people that might say Turkish people are, I don't know, more blunt and aggressive, but not in the sailing scene. When we go sailing, we find them friendlier than the Greeks, more helpful if you're in a situation that you need help, because it's more locals that they're sailing than tourists.
I'm very fond of Turkish
Um,
coast and people.
and sailing between from Oman to Dubai was an
Mm.
experience. It was an experience to see the sailing in this region. I never thought like I'd be seeing beautiful mountains or
Mm.
dolphins while sailing. So that was even here when people think less of this
Yeah.
area, it's also beautiful.
No, of course. It is a specific area because it is Gulf. Gulf has
Yeah,
its own
yeah,
characteristics, but I can imagine. And Oman is another world, honestly, with
yeah,
everything that it
yeah,
offers. Um, you have mentioned, I want to go back to school a little bit. You have mentioned the kid you taught who is now actually
yeah.
an associate of yours. Have you had, it really doesn't matter, this is not about competition, but have you had some really remarkable talents discovered among these little ones that people who have continued, you know, is this type of sport where it kind of is easily seen that someone is born with the skill?
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, you've got kids from the first few days, they feel it naturally.
Hmm.
They feel the wind. There's not much of instructions you need to give them. But there are others, they develop it with time. It doesn't make one
The
person better.
beauty of
I was
this,
that
yeah.
person
Yeah.
that took me some time to feel the wind. But it's either you love the sport or hate it, and you can see it
Mm.
from the beginning. There's
Yeah.
no like, I'm just going to go to pastime and my parents want me to be there. They either love it or hate it, and I believe it's just similar to skiing. And those who love it,
Oh, good reference. I
yeah.
adore skiing. I think I skied before I walked.
Some
Yeah.
people they say I've sailed before I walk, the same thing. So yeah, they either love it or hate it, and you can see the dedication. If
Mm.
you might like sailing, but I'm just going to do it for some time, that's it. But then those they start as kids, then they become teenagers. You can see their dedication. They do have exams. They come to offer to help. They finish sailing. They're still sticking around in
Yeah.
the club. We had a 16 or 17 boy a few weeks ago. We were repairing. He finished his session.
Mm.
We were repairing and fixing some of the boats, and he said, "Can I stay behind and help out?" So now that you see that they want to still stay here, it's not just about sailing. I'm going to wash the boats. I'm going to clean the space. I'm going to pull the trolley for another student. And then that's the talent that you're going to pick and think of,
That's
those are going to be
beautiful.
my next instructors.
How do you stay enthusiastic about your job and energized?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Tough
don't know. I
question.
think I think it's something I love,
Yeah.
despite I said I cried so many times, not because of the sailing itself, because of the challenges to establish company, all the paperwork, and it's not it's like anywhere, like the bureaucracy doing anything that makes you like you think there are obstacle on the way everywhere you go, and you go
Wow.
like I'm so tired now. And then remembering, do I want turn the hobby into a job and becomes looking at budgets, covering expensive, and that's the boring side of it. And I, the, I would say the moment I feel I'm overwhelmed with this, it makes me really angry and I can snap easily. Um, then I decide I'm going to go and teach a few people on the water that are going to make me happy. And then I go back to my admin boring
Oh,
work.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you know what to do. And as you are, in a way, um, living with the sea and sort of using the sea, how much do you discuss environmental protection, wildlife? How much is it part of your job as well, whether in practices or in sharing this knowledge or, trying to influence what's happening and so on?
You've touched on a very sensitive topic,
Yeah, we
especially
can.
especially those days. I
Yeah,
don't know if you know what's happening on the sea.
probably not. And I'm really not asking for anything, more like, what do you feel is really important to do?
It really, littering in general, whether on the
Mm,
sea or anywhere, or even when you go camping in the desert,
mm.
I think it really annoys me, makes me angry. So when we come in the morning, we clean the area in the front of us, and so it really, really makes me angry when I see people at night came, or they were there early in the morning fishing, or just chilling, watching the sunrise, and then leaving all that litter at the beach. So at the beginning, we used to clean it and just put it in the trash. And then our students, when they're sailing themselves, I think it comes with connection with the sea.
Yeah.
They personally, the kids and the adults, they come back with the sailboat. They go, "Oh, we collected that much of waste," and then we thought, like, how can we recycle it? And contacted recycling companies. I have to mention them because they offered it as a free service for us. They said if it's part of an education, that service will be for free. Tadwiri. They said, we'll come and collect it for free. We'll go to the scientific center. You're on the way. We'll collect them from you. So we used to have piles and piles of trash segregated, not our trash. Because even when they said, I said, you want to charge me for trash? That's not even mine. And then you see then people generally, even in the resort, started to see those bins, and now they go and put them, even if they're not segregated, at least that something is going there, and we segregate them at the end of the day. That's the small part that we do. That's the small part by cleaning. And we try to encourage everyone in the center. And it's not something I put on social media and talk about it. And it's not something that I want to brag about it. I hate those.
Yeah.
So
We recycle them though.
Exactly. But it's not
That's the only,
something we are, we can't get rid of plastic. It's there in everyday life. So we buy the bigger ones that, everyone then needs to have their own water bottles to refill. If I do have paper cups, not plastic cups for tea, but I also try to minimize waste in general, let's say. And I know it annoys people. It's not about saving money. It's not like we don't want to buy them.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of waste. It's really a lot of waste. And as I said, we can't control plastic. Try to minimize it, recycle it.
Yeah.
That's the maximum we can do. I mean, the rash vest we're wearing today, people will come and buy them. I know we have them on the website. We sell rash vest, and they go like, oh, it's 25 KD for a rash vest. This rash vest, I think it has a QR code somewhere to scan. It tells you how many plastic they've been used, recycled plastic, to make it.
Yeah.
It comes from a company that deals with fishermen in the Mediterranean, that they fish for plastic.
Oh.
And then they give it to this company that makes it into rash vest gears for divers and sailors. I know the time I decided to buy them, my husband went nuts because he was like controlling budget.
Yeah.
But I thought that reflects what we want to do. And
it is a lot of raising awareness along the way, because people, like you said, don't really see the connection in why they would obtain this particular one and not, something else. Yeah. It's a big job. Are there similar schools in Kuwait like yours?
I would love to see more schools, honestly, because competitions makes you better. I would love to see more schools.
Yeah.
There've been a few ones throughout the years. They don't last for one reason or another. I must say it's a tough job. not easy to find instructors if you're not personally involved yourself.
Mm.
But the one that has been lasting before we started and is always going to be there is the one that trains the national team.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is different what we do, but it complements each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see more sailing schools in Kuwait.
So that means it's not easy to also build your team, since you have to find people who have skills and who have certification.
It's not easy to build the
But you're
team.
building the team within, in a way.
That's one
Yeah.
thing. But it's also, as we said, different culture, different
Mm.
mindset. I mean, you go to other countries, people take sailing as their career path. Here, sailing comes on the side. I'm going to go to university, do my job. I'll assess you during my breaks.
Yeah.
And the instructors that we recruit from outside of Kuwait, they're already instructors, and then you bring them here and you need to attract them to stay. They're going to come for a certain time. They find definitely better opportunities, and you're not going to stop them. And it's going to be that cycle. We've got 2 full-time staff that have been with us. They didn't know sailing. They started learning throughout the club. And the aim is now to bring the RYA, the Royal Yacht Association, to come to Kuwait and train those who are interested to become instructors.
Oh.
So we've got a handful of 6.
Mm.
3 of them are team members, like full-timers. They learned sailing through the club. They became assistants through the club, but we want them to have that certificate to say they are instructors, to be eligible to be instructors. So yeah, that's a challenge, and I think that's what limits a lot of the sailing companies to start a sailing school.
So in a way, I've already asked you this, but also, how do you rest? Are there other things you enjoy doing that are not directly related? It's a lot of work and it's constant.
I go home, I think, again, because something I love.
Yeah, a lot of it starts from
a
passion.
day off will be still going there. Like, let's go to the beach. And then we start fixing stuff or just sailing ourselves.
There's always work, yeah.
Or even just hanging around with the members and the sailors. It's just, yeah, we don't like the malls. And we think like, oh, we built something that people come to us on their day off. We're going to go there on our day off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be the time I'll be resting is just being in the house. That's it. That's it. Maybe
existing.
That's it. Yeah.
Can you share with us some of the plans for the school, if there, or at least tell us what's going on right now and how do people find you, sign up?
The plans, I don't know if you're not in the sailing environment, you won't understand our plans, but it means a lot for the sailors. From the start, we've took our trainings with the RYA, which is an organization that organizes sailing and any water sports in the UK. But then it's been adapted in so many countries, and now they do have more than 500 centers all across the world. So if you go, you'll find RYA centers all over. At the beginning, we wanted to be associated because that's our training came from the RYA. So how to be affiliated with the club, having their guidance, especially during COVID that happened. So the RYA gives you all those hints and tips. And then now that time passed, we wanted to be an RYA training center, which means the certification will come from the RYA. The RYA will come and do the whole inspection annually to see if you're following the standards. Coming to Kuwait to do the training for the instructors. So then we become a regional hub. So that's the aim.
Yeah.
And we're working towards October, beginning of 2027 to achieve this. And when we receive people coming from other Arab countries around us, like from Saudi Arabia or Jordan, oh, we saw that you're RYA affiliated, so we're coming to Kuwait to do sailing and visit a country that we have not visited before. We were like, we bring people to the country. Not many, I would call 2 or 3, but maybe when we're bigger, then that could be a place where sailors get attracted to come.
Yeah. Well, that's a big step.
That's the plan.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
It's baby steps. But
and those interested can find you online. You have a website, Kuwait Sailing School. You have your Instagram account. The camp is ongoing.
Yeah.
And there are activities that can be found at any part of the year, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to
I
start.
mean, other than website, Instagram, we're very poor on Facebook, I must say. We don't do Snapchat, TikToks,
But people could come and talk to you directly, right? You are
yes.
based.
Yeah.
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 Can you share where you are?
So
Location.
we are in Salmiya,
Mm-hmm.
and that is convenient for so many people.
Yeah.
In Arjan Al Bida Hotel and Resort. The beauty about it that even if you're not a member of the resort, you're coming to the sailing school, the security will allow you in. And you can use the restaurants. You can use, I would say, all the facilities except the swimming pool.
Yeah.
So after you finish sailing, you can be at the beach.
Mm.
And where the sailing school is, not the members
Obviously,
of the hotel. You've got the changing rooms. You can take a shower. Beautiful. I mean, there's so many options of restaurants. I personally go and sit there every day after finishing work. And the members also, the sailors, sometimes you go, let's have a dinner after sailing, or in the break, let's all have lunch, even at the beach in this heat. We also put the shades, have our lunch there. That's our location.
And it's at arm's length. It's, the closest you've ever been to the city.
To my house as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good to know. We are around the end of our time for today,
Are we?
at least. And it was such a pleasure to learn of all of these things and actually be reminded of some of the beautiful experiences I personally had. What a lovely thing, Shayma. Thank you so much for sharing all the info with us and all the stories and
Thank you for
the
having me.
enthusiasm. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.